Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very interesting topic to discuss, which is why Arsenal may not win the 2024-25 Premier League season. As we all know, it's been a fantastic season so far. We're just coming out of a 3-1 win over Southampton. Interesting and intriguing game. But we just want to discuss what are the reasons, 5 reasons why Arsenal may not end up as champions at the end of this season. So straight into it. The first reason is Arteta's careless rotations. If you look very closely at the previous season, we were very, very close. We're just 2 points off Manchester City. It was almost like at the end of the season, we were like, how did we not win the league? How did it happen? We started the most recent memory everybody remembered were the points we dropped at Aston Villa. But that was not just all that happened. Before that, at the earlier part of the season, Arteta made a lot of careless rotations at the beginning of the season. Around the time there were talks about Gabriel moving to Saudi Arabia, and it was seen like those rotations were more like disciplinary actions, but they had huge impact and added up to the end of the season where we had to scramble for points to close the gap on Manchester City. Initially as well, at the beginning of the season, 2023-24, it appeared like there was so much criticism about his signing of Kai Havertz, and he wanted to just pretty much justify that purchase. Ultimately, it turned out good because in this season we can see Kai Havertz is reaching his full potentials at Arsenal. But it looked like he had this stubbornness where he just wanted to prove that Kai Havertz just had to play and he had something to deliver. All of that kind of added up to him becoming what he is today. But there were some defiant lineups that were just unjustifiable, especially in games where we started somebody like Thomas Partey at right back. None of those games have ever ended well for Arsenal, including the recent performance against Southampton, where we barely could do anything. We even considered a goal before, even though it didn't come from his side of the wing, but all of that led to Arsenal struggling at the beginning of the game, considered a goal, and then we started to make substitutions. Only then did the game turn around and we ended up winning the game. So if Arteta continues with some of these reckless, I'll call it reckless lineups and formations, maybe I think we probably disrespected Southampton a bit too much and rotated, brought in a bunch of players, gave, I think, starts to lots of players that will not normally make our starting 11, and basically just ruin the game in the process. So if Arteta continues to make some of these reckless substitutions or rotations and is defiant as to how to consistently use a winning formation, even if we're playing a team that we think we're going to win, that could cost Arsenal at the end of the season. The second reason is what everybody has been talking about for a very long time: lack of a clinical striker. Now, some people are of the argument that Kai Havertz has really come up strong. He's good enough to see Arsenal through the season. My opinion on that is that very, very strong teams have options in attack. And Kai Havertz, I can bet on the fact that Kai Havertz will eventually become an excellent striker at some point. But Arsenal might end up paying with another major Premier League title in getting him up to speed to become the guy he know he has the potential to become. So we talked about over the summer signing players like Victor Gyokeres, Victor Osimhen, and all the other top strikers around the world right now. We ended up not signing any of them, and that could cost us, especially in a season where we're expecting to, finally get past Manchester City and win the league. It may not end well for Arsenal, unfortunately, if especially in games where we just need a touch of brilliance. We've seen Manchester City get past the line through the brilliance of um, of Haaland several times, time and time again. And in difficult games, yes, you might not be at your best, you might not be playing your best football, but what you just need is to win the game. That's what gets you across the line most times. And if we, for some reason, stumble into a couple of such games, maybe around the winter period when there's a cluster of matches, maybe December, January. Remember last season, that was around the time we dropped a couple of points. I think we lost to Fulham and to Aston Villa, and that snowballed into what ended up happening at the end of the season. So if Arsenal don't sign a very solid striker in the winter window, that might just be why Arsenal end up not winning the league. And maybe the damage has been done already. Maybe between now and January is already too late. I'm not too sure. But by the time we look back at some of the games we might end up, hopefully not, dropping points, we'll probably think to ourselves, maybe if we signed a solid striker at some point, or in the summer, or in the winter window, we'll probably be able to close that gap. Reason number 3, there's so much pressure on Arsenal right now to win silverware. And we kind of have a team that I would say is a bit short. Maybe 1 or 2 key players. And the consequence is Arteta has come to a point where he basically is under pressure to win a major trophy. So we've suddenly started taking the League Cup very seriously. We're taking the FA Cup very seriously. We're taking the Premier League very seriously. And we want to win something. So there's so much pressure. And with all of that, there might not be enough focus on the league to make sure we get that done and dusted. So the consequence of that at the end of the season might be win the FA Cup or win the League Cup. Maybe we go really fine in the Champions League, maybe win it as well. But then the Premier League, we might come short there again. So that's the thing. So much pressure. Arteta wants to win. We're almost playing a solid starting lineup in the domestic cups. But then that could also mean more injuries, more needs for rotation, and at the end of the day, we get a few trophies, 1 or 2, not major, but the Premier League title might be the one we sacrifice at the end of the day. 4th reason, since the beginning of this season, Arsenal have lost 4 points up until now. By the way, this video is being done on the 5th of October, just after Arsenal beat Southampton 3-1. This season, Arsenal have dropped 4 points to date. We drew at Brighton, and also we drew the game against Manchester City. In both matches, Arsenal were issued red cards, and those were controversial decisions from referees. And I mean, up until now, we've only lost 4 points, sitting 3rd. And if Arsenal, those games, in those 2 games, Arsenal were in a winning position. We're 2-1 up against Manchester City before, we got a red card. Same thing, we'll win the game against Brighton, got a red card, and we ended up drawing the game. So those will have been, for me, easy 3 points. Or not maybe Manchester City might not be an easy 3 points, but we had a good chance of winning the game. Same thing against Brighton. So if we continue to experience this sort of situations where we get poor refereeing decisions against us and it keeps happening, those might be that might just be the margins that make us end up coming up short at the end of the season. So hopefully there's more consistency with referee decisions, and Arsenal don't find themselves on the wrong end of things at the end of the season. So if we feel targeted by referees, maybe we need to be a bit more disciplined. But that awareness and consciousness that, look, there's an agenda against you, maybe that's not the case. But at the end of the day, we just need to find a way past some of these very bad refereeing decisions. I personally am of the opinion that Arsenal are not getting the best treatment from referees. And if that continues at the end of the season, by the time we add up all the points we've lost, that might just be the difference between Arsenal winning the league and losing it, again to Manchester City. And then the fifth point, Manchester City are just resilient. They're an extremely experienced side that have the best coach in the world, in my opinion. Pep Guardiola is the best coach, probably even of all time, as far as club football is concerned. And he's extremely disciplined. His team is disciplined. Manchester City are resilient, and they want to win. If they continue with the way things are, we know Rodri is out for the season. Even with that, I see Manchester City dipping into the transfer market in January and trying to get a replacement. That is resilience. I see Manchester City finding a solution around, getting a solid defensive midfielder, even within the current squad, maybe tweaking the rotating their current formation to make things work. They've managed to pull, to get points off Fulham in today's game. It was a hard-fought game. They still won the game somehow. They're finding a way to win, even if it means, not playing their best football. So they're a very resilient side. And that might just be the reason Arsenal don't win again. Now, we might end up getting even level of points, goal difference, whatever it is, 1 point, 2 points, whatever it is. Pep Guardiola and Manchester City are currently a very solid side. And if they stay with this level of motivation and drive, if they win this year, that's the fifth title, in a row. That's really crazy. But because of the kind of person Pep is and how solid Manchester City are all around, Arsenal might do. I see Arsenal having a fantastic run this year, but ultimately might still come short. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that somehow all that is within our power to do, which is, for example, getting a solid striker, even if Kai Havertz is getting good numbers. I trust Kai Havertz to really do well this season. But we need a backup. At least I don't think Gabriel Jesus is at the level he once was. And in fact, at the moment, I see Kai Havertz as the most important player in Arsenal right now. Because if he gets an injury, for example, I don't see any centre forward that will be a threat to most of the things in Premier League as much as Kai Havertz is right now. So we need to get a solid guy, not just any striker, solid, ruthless finisher. So those are the 5 reasons why Arsenal may not end up as champions at the end of this season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.